Well, hello, hello, hello. This has been a long time coming. We've been planning for this. We've been excited for this. We've been warned about this. And, um, and we've done this before, except we did it on Google Hangouts and not Skype. So this is all a work in progress for the three of us.
Right.
But we do have June in person. Last time she discovered that her camcorder did not have a camera, and so we only did the audio. And Tracy with the glasses was in Florida, and so we did a three-way, and it was delightful. And now here we are, 6 months later. They've still got some good summer color on their face, so they look vibrant. Tracy with the glasses just had a birthday on Monday.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so here the three of us are, and we're delighted. We're going to talk keto, carnivore, carnivish, because the three of us do partake in all three of those at times, which I think most of us do, right? Well, welcome, ladies. It's so good to have you.
And good morning.
Good morning.
And if you can't tell, there's a love of cats. All three of us love cats. How many do we have total?
Well, I have 6 in my house, but 3 of them are foster kittens.
Okay.
For the local shelter.
There's 6.
And I have 7 in my house, and none are fosters.
And I have 3 in mine, and there are times that I would give them away for nothing. One has not come home for breakfast. Okay, so let's dive into I think, did all of us start keto? Did we start with low carb, high fat keto?
When you talk about I started with Weight Watchers. That was my beginning. But once we started together, I think we were keto.
Yeah.
Now you were besties in the same town at one point, right?
Yes.
Right. We lived in Orlando.
Did you meet through Weight Watchers?
No, we met through church.
Yeah.
Okay.
We attended church together, and we connected in the same town, which is Orlando, Florida. And but I since moved to the mountains of Georgia, North Georgia, a little town called Clayton, and that's where we are now. Tracy has come up to visit for a week, and we decided this is a great time to do our thing. Tracy's got her computer with the camera, so that's good.
All right, so instead of going, I know we have a friend, don't we? Well, we did.
Well, kittens,
Yeah. So instead of like going back to the Weight Watcher days, which of course I always love to hear about, but no. I do need to make note that they are dressed as Turtle Club members. They both have.
See, we
have turtle earrings. We have turtle. I don't know if you can see, but little tiny turtles hanging here.
Mine are blue. Hers are silver
with red.
How adorable is that? I think I have a turtle pin, come to think of it. Where is it? Well, I'm out of uniform. Anyway, so we're here, and these two ladies have just spent, this is their 10th day of hanging out together. They're not sick of each other. They love each other as much as they began to. So that's awesome. And so I want you to spend a little time telling us how you did the whole food things for 10 wonderful days.
Well,
and what you would call it, what you would label yourselves as.
June has fed me like a queen. Ribeyes, prime rib. We had a pork roast.
And burgers.
Lots of great burgers cooked on her grill. I think the only veg I've had the whole time I was here, green beans.
And not many, just a bit. So we were pretty total carnivore except for coffee. So that was it. I mean, there hasn't been a year. And I think neither of us could go to some veggies if we had to. I don't have any desire for them, though, most times. Do you?
No. Well, green beans. I'm using up green beans at home because I had some cans that were going to expire, and I didn't want that to happen. So occasionally I was eating those up.
So that's been what we did for 10 days. And I had a freezer full of meat ready for this time, and we just dove in. And every morning, actually the night before, I would say, what do you want tomorrow? And open the freezer, and we'd pull out whatever meat to thaw. And I told her I couldn't go to bed until I knew what we were going to have, because my soul would be restless, so that was nice. The thing that has been brand new for me is the experience of doing OMAD, one meal a day, successfully. Part of it's having a distraction, having a friend here, but part of it was learning I had to eat enough food the day before, to be satisfied for 24 hours. And that I've never done. I've always been afraid to eat too much. But this time I ate until I couldn't eat anymore, basically. I mean, we would have a steak and a hamburger, an 8-ounce hamburger and an 8 to 15-ounce steak. They were actually too nice, I couldn't finish.
Yeah.
But I felt completely great the next day and was not craving.
I was so proud of her. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
So
And Tracy, when you're not up here in Georgia, what amount, you're OMAD, right?
Yes.
And
Most days.
so what amount ounce-wise of meats would you have at your OMAD meal?
Well, it depends. There have been days when I ate a 16-ounce ribeye plus a burger. I had a huge porterhouse. I think it was like 1.5 pounds, and I ate the whole thing. I strive for a pound. Some days a total, between the steak and the hamburger, whatever I'm having, I strive for a pound. Some days it's more.
I think that explains why we're turtles, because
Yeah.
it takes a longer time to lose the weight.
Yeah.
But it still
Yeah, it's
off.
taken me 2 full years to lose 60 pounds. 35 of that in the last year. So slow, but I'm happy with that.
Because we're not suffering.
5 in a year is great for somebody our age.
Well, to do that and not suffer.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that talks about diets talks about suffering. That's not going to work long term. No, we aren't built for that. At least I'm not. And hunger will win every time. I've heard it over and over, and it's so true.
Yeah.
So I have to find a way to not be starving. I will admit to snacking on a piece of bacon now and then. When I feel like I'm not going to make it, I need something, and one piece of bacon will do it. So.
Well, is that any different than my cuppa? It's kind of the same as a cup of coffee.
It's
just
right if you add fat to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we use coffee too, 2-3 cups a day maybe, to get us through to the meal. We usually eat around 3. We found that if we can't eat later than that, or we won't digest in time for bed, because we're early to bed people. So
Especially me.
I know you and I share that. I love it. And so, have you figured out, can you feel the to satiety type of feeling, even if there means there's leftover on the plates? I want to ask both of you. Or do you just keep going because you're a Clean Plate Club member?
I am a clean plate club member. I eat till it's gone. June had a different experience.
I was surprised I couldn't eat more. I eat till I can't eat more. I don't feel uncomfortable, but ribeye is so rich, kind of fatty, that I found that when I eat ribeye, I can't sometimes finish the ribeye. I can always finish the burger for some reason. It's easier to eat without, it's all pre-chewed is the way I look at it. But I can stop sometimes when I'm thinking I really don't want to be uncomfortable. So I'll stop and save it. And the only thing that bothers me is I think, when will I eat it? Because I've got another meal for tomorrow, and how am I going to factor that in? So it's weird. It's like, maybe I need to eat this so I don't have it left over, because I live alone, and therefore there's no one else that's going to eat it for me. So, but I think the satiety thing I'm learning still, because this is really new to me, the OMAD part. I'd try it once or twice and I'd hate it. But now I realize I don't have to hurt myself, starve myself, be miserable. And so the new part for me is learning what my satiety level is, so I can make it. And there's no tragedy. And Mike has said this many times. There's no tragedy in having a little. If you're hungry, eat something. You don't have to be miserable. But eventually, you want to learn what that is. And I'm still going for that. It's a process. And there's some days that are different too.
Right.
Some days are just, whoa, if I don't eat something. I think
Yeah.
being busy is big.
Right. I had one day like that here. I woke up and I was so hungry by 8 o'clock. I was actually sick to my stomach. So I had a piece of prime rib, cold, right out of the refrigerator, and that took me till dinner time. But most days, coffee will take care of that. But that day, I was hungry. So it's just listening to your body.
But we aren't perfect. We need to let you know for sure that we have had days, and we had a very interesting experience this week.
Okay,
We got
the professional booth is
professional. Here we go. So we had a day when we got together with friends and we had a meal together. We were responsible for bringing the meat course. So we brought a pork roast because it had to feed 8 people. And so it was a big pork loin and fine. But, pork loin is not very fatty. I hadn't thought about that. And it was cooked in a casserole with potatoes, onions, and apples underneath it. Well, we figured we'd just avoid those things. And then someone brought green beans and someone brought other stuff. We squinted. We didn't see anything else.
Well, the sausage.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Somebody had brought, for appetizers, little sliced pieces of sausage, which looked very harmless.
She had some with toothpicks and pineapple on top. And then because of us, she had some plain ones.
So, of course, we had a few snacks while we were waiting for dinner. We were fine, and we had plenty of meat, and we didn't do dessert. We didn't do any of that. Both of us, and this is what's interesting, separately, because I was not staying here this week. I would have to go in the evening and leave and take care of somebody's dog, which is one of the reasons Tracy's here. She's taking care of the house and the cats at night when I'm sleeping at somebody else's house, which is strange, but that's how. And I had to go to somebody's house first to water their plants, and then I had to go to the dog's house. And when I walked into the house that had the plants, I happened to know she keeps an entire huge kitchen drawer full of candy, chocolate candy, which has been my nemesis forever when I walk into her house, because she says, help yourself. I knew even before I walked in that door, I was going to go to that candy drawer. It was just a compulsion that I could not resist. And I went in, and she had little individual packages of M&M peanuts. I had 2 of them, and a Babe Ruth bar, mini. Oh, yeah. I felt like the worst person in the world, but I didn't say anything. Okay.
Now, at the same time, I'm in her house, and in her big closet, there's a huge box of stuff that she had taken out of the pantry of the dog sitting house, full of stuff that she didn't want to be tempted because she'd be there all night. Walked in the door. She left to go to Gracie. I went to the closet and hit the big big bag of M&Ms.
Did you really
filled up a bowl with
M&M peanuts?
Peanut M&Ms. So she text messages me and says, oh, I forgot my iPad. I'm on the way back. I took the bowl and hid it in the drawer of the dresser and brushed my teeth so she wouldn't know that I'd done it. She comes in and she fesses up. She says, oh, I got into the candy and I didn't say a word.
She didn't say anything.
And I don't know why, if I was ashamed or I know the real reason is she'd have taken the M&Ms back with her and I wouldn't have had them. So we didn't find out till the next morning.
Well, tell them what you did when I left.
Oh, then I went and got the rest of them and I ate them, but not the whole bag. Just
We
what
were
I had in the bowl.
We were out of control.
Out of control. We didn't know why.
And we didn't realize the other was.
What triggered that? I mean, it was like she said, it was uncontrollable. I had to have those peanut M&Ms. So the next day we started talking, and both of us independently of each other. So there was no influence there. What caused that? And I think the sausage may have had sugar in it. Maybe the apples soaked into the pork, or the pork wasn't fat enough, but something triggered our addictions. We were out of control.
It was weird to have us both have that same craving when we haven't had any at all this whole week. It's been nothing but that one night.
But the amazing thing is that the next day we were back on track. There was no more dipping like it would have been in the olden days for the next 6 months.
I did take the box out of the house, though. She didn't have. There were no more M&Ms.
She took my M&Ms.
I did. I put them in the house where the chocolate drawer is. I said they have enough chocolate. I'm just going to put it in their house. So it was kind of strange.
My fault was the pork loin not having enough fat. We get
That's what I
used to fatty meat.
Yeah.
you know, and I know that both of you are fatty meat lovers, you know, with ribeye and burgers.
Yep.
And so I've noticed that when I've had pork, I feel like this can't be the end of the meal because I really want to go eat like 2 tablespoons of butter or something.
Exactly. You know, or peanut butter, which is my nemesis. That's my
Mm.
kryptonite. But your first reaction was, well, I know I can't eat pork anymore.
Yeah, that's it. And also, if I'm at someone else's house, if they have something out like the sausages, I can't count on that not having sugar in it.
No, you
So
can't.
unless it's something I bring or I know it's just pure meat, I'm not going to eat it.
But
because
again, the fatty meat is important.
that just, because when I go to Thanksgiving, I'm thinking Thanksgiving, my daughter will cook a turkey. Turkey is not fat. So I'm probably going to take a burger with me to have her turkey and a burger, because I don't want to do that again. Because the next day we just felt, ugh. We went on a hike, and I don't know about June, but for me, it was hard. Where the day before the hike was easy.
All right, so let me ask you about about ribeyes. So you got your ribeye, and it's got like little pockets of fat, as well as sometimes you've got fat around it.
Right.
Do you eat all of that fat?
All of
Every
it.
bite, every single bite of it.
I love
People
you.
are gagging sometimes. They're looking like, how can you eat? Oh,
Even the gristle. And we
yeah.
learned today from Dr. Barry that the gristle has collagen. And it's
Yes,
good.
yes.
And he said, eat it, even if you have to cut it up into teeny tiny little bites.
Yep.
Which I don't have to do.
I don't
I
either.
just chew
it up. Like I call it gum, meat gum.
Well, you know, and then they say that like I just remember, you know, I've worked in nursing homes and plus had elderly people that I've, you know, had to visit, and they have all this soft food. And so people say having the steak now while we can keeps your teeth strong, you know, because you've got to chew.
Yeah.
And the little old ladies that I recall, you know, they were down to not pablum, but you know, could have come from a blender or something.
Well, I will tell you, if I get to that point, I will grind my steaks up and eat them that way because I will love. I mean, that fat is so important and so good. And grilled, the flavor of grilled is great. I mean, it's just you can't beat it, as you know, with the big green egg.
Big green egg. Now, let me ask you: when you both got into the candy, and I mean, is that bestie? That's a bestie tale. Isn't it? The two of you are doing the same thing.
Right, independently of
Well,
each other.
and it's funny because you had just done a video on was it
Accountability.
Accountability.
Mm-hmm.
We were, well, confession is good for the soul. And the fact that we both sat there, and I said to her, "How could you not have told me?" I'm standing right here, and she's just looking at me, and I'm telling her my story about how I got into the candy.
And I think subconsciously, I knew if I told her, she would be taking that box out of the house.
You can't have it. But you had some more.
Did your teeth hurt from that sugar?
No,
not this time. I had an experience when I was visiting my daughter in Missouri. I was going to be so good. Well, the very first night after she picked me up at the airport, the only thing they had to eat was pizza. Now I was good. I only had three pieces of pizza. But the next day, I have a tooth that I've been nursing. And the next morning after eating the flour, I was swollen and painful. And then that next day was the shower for my granddaughter's baby shower. And there were cookies, beautiful cookies made to look like bears, and because they have the forest theme. Well, I had one cookie. Well, we know what happens then. That was Saturday. Sunday, Monday, I go home. Well, there was cookies being eaten the whole time. And that didn't cause any additional pain in my tooth, but I did gain weight. So when I got home, my go-to tool in my toolbox is fasting. So I got home Monday night. So I fasted all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. But what is amazing, I weighed, okay, I got home Monday night. So Tuesday morning I weighed, I'd gained 8 pounds. So I fasted that day. Wednesday morning I weighed, I'd lost it all. I was back to my pre-trip weight, which was amazing to me. So it must have been water from the flour and the sugar and the other stuff.
But you caught it fast.
I caught it fast. I fasted for 2 days, and by the third day I was back to eating normal, and my weight was good. And the cravings were gone. I fasted to get that out of my system. Not only out of my system, but the taste out of my mouth. I just wanted it gone.
And out of your
So,
mind.
so it sounds like a withdrawal that wasn't as painful or as long as I sometimes would figure.
Exactly. Because I've got the tools now and I know what to do. Where in the past, that would have triggered, a good 3 months of going, oh, the heck with it. I'm just going to eat what I want.
I don't fast like she does, but I think quicker recovery. I think that's
Yes.
the benefit of the eating the way we do, is that our bodies don't want that anymore. It's just that momentary craziness you might experience, but then the next day you're really wanting to get right back to
It
program.
reminded me of,
Right, but I think that you're right.
of
I have
Jim.
another question, Tracy.
Yeah.
When you did all of those hours of fasting, did it involve water or salt or coffee or anything in your coffee or anything like that? Or was it a dry fast?
Black coffee, water, and salt. I was putting salt in my coffee. And it was good. I'd never done that before.
Yeah,
But what it reminded me of was Jim beating obesity, his trip to Italy. And when he was enjoying their culture and eating all that pasta, but when he got home and ate his steak, he said that tasted better than anything he'd had in Italy. And that's how I felt that next meal after the fast. It was a big fat ribeye, and it outdid anything that I had munched on in Missouri.
Okay. Now, how are you with both of you with grass-fed versus feedlot?
Well, I went for grass-fed beef for a while because I wanted to lower the ratio of, omega-3s and 6s, and I thought it's got to be better for you. I enjoy the flavor and the taste of feedlot beef way more than I enjoy grass-fed. So I've pretty much, the only thing I do grass-fed anymore basically is liver, and I get that from US Wellness, and their liver's great. So I buy enough that I can keep it in the freezer, and I have that, and I have it as a snack. I don't have it as a meal. I mean, I cut it up in little small pieces and have a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But that's it. I don't go for the grass-fed anymore.
And I, in the beginning, ordered all of my meat from US Wellness. But since then, I've get my steaks from Publix when they're on sale. I get their prime, but they're not grass finished. I had been buying the grass-fed ground hamburger at Walmart. But let me tell you, after coming up here, June's buying the tube like Mike does and grilling that. And that's what I'm doing from now on. I'll get the steaks from Publix and the burger from Walmart. And but US Wellness, I do still get the liver. I get their sausage because I know that's sugar-free. And I get their Brunswiger and liverwurst because I know that they're sugar-free. But from now on, everything else is just going to be from the grocery store.
Do you add butter to your meat after it's cooked?
After it's cooked, no. But I cook it. If I cook it in my cast iron, there's butter. But I'm going to be firing up my grill more often after this trip because it's just a totally different taste.
With ribeye, I never feel like I need to add butter. But I do have a New York strip in the freezer. I'm going to try that. And, that's not as fatty. And I might add butter to that. I haven't done that before, but it sounds good. So
what I do with butter is when I scramble eggs, I'll put 2 heaping tablespoons of butter in the pan and then scramble up 3 eggs. And it soaks up all that butter and they're so creamy and just yummy.
If anybody said to you 5 years ago that you would be only eating meat, can you imagine? I mean, I remember looking at women that were our age in restaurants and what they would eat. In fact, I just did an article about it. I read an article in Men's Health about it. And it's like, women our age were starving themselves back then. If you went in and said, I want a slab of prime rib, do you want the ladies' cut or the captain's cut? And it's like, I want the king's cut. Are you kidding? Right? I'd love to live in Texas.
I actually made the statement to people who were eating a big fat hamburger, oh, it's a heart attack on a bun. insanity back then.
Well, it is, but
we
it's
didn't
not
know.
because of the meat.
Yeah, it's
but you
because of the
know,
bread.
We go out to lunch after church on Sundays, and everybody there eats salads. It's a salad. Even the guys. I mean, oh, well, I'm watching my weight. Big salad, and I mean, I'm there eating my big old fat burger or whatever, and they just roll their eyes, but they don't say anything anymore because they know it's pointless.
Now, when you say big old burger, do you ask for a big old burger, or is it just the standard one that you'd see on a hamburger?
It's a pretty good sized burger. It's usually an 8-ounce burger, and it's cooked rare. It's the only way I'll accept it, so I'll send it back if they don't. And sometimes I'll have bacon with it, a side of bacon. So
No pun.
no bun.
They
No,
won't cook rare at a lot of restaurants.
Well, no,
Isn't
they
that
don't.
something?
They don't. So I try to go we have a couple places in town that just are so good. They make great grilled burgers, and I love to go there. But there is one restaurant that won't do grilled burgers, but they will do ground steak, and they'll do it rare. Go figure.
Now, the first Sunday I was here, we went there for breakfast, and I ordered a breakfast special that came with eggs and bacon, and then there were 2 sides. So I asked the lady across from me, okay, do you want pancakes or applesauce? And she said applesauce. So she got the applesauce, and a gentleman down from me got the pancakes. So I got to bless 2 people, and I didn't have to eat the bad stuff.
You blessed them, but you cursed them at the same time because
Well,
they're eating junk.
They thought I was blessing them. It was off my plate.
Oh gosh, I feel guilty giving food to people anymore. That's not what we eat.
Yeah. I haven't been out to eat since I've been mostly carnivore, but if I did, I'd either want my type of portion of meat, or I'll just like sip black coffee or water and then get it later the way that I want it at home, because I'm a pig about meat, you know. It would only whet my appetite with one burger.
And I will admit that those are the days that I will plan to eat again. I'll plan to eat within 4 hours when I get home. So I'm not worried about it. If I'm just having some mornings, some lunches, I'll go out and have 1 egg and a side of bacon. And then I go home, and a few hours later, I have my big old burger. I do. I have to say that's protection on my part, because I know I'm hungry enough to eat something. I don't want just coffee. So
my brother wants to take me out for my birthday when I get home. And he already knows we're going to a steakhouse, and I'm ordering the biggest piece of meat on the menu. And if it comes with broccoli, that would be okay. I could have that, but no other side.
So,
Okay.
but we're finding that planning ahead is always the key. Know where you're going and what you're going to do when you get there, kind of thing.
Right.
And avoid pork.
And avoid pork. Well, you know, the country style ribs that we have here have a lot of fat on them.
Oh, and even baby back ribs are good. I can do those without barbecue sauce. So I'll cook those up for a party and have a lot of those around and have enough that doesn't have barbecue, then I can eat those. Yeah, that does make. So it's not just pork, it's that lean, other white meat thing.
I know. I gotta have the fat, and I'd have to have the bone with the pork chop.
Oh, yeah.
And the fat with the little tender. I mean, it looks like a porterhouse, except it's pork, right?
Right.
It's a little tenderloin.
Right.
That's the way that I like it, or the country ribs. But
And at Thanksgiving, everybody wants the breast. No, give me the thigh.
Yep. I'll eat the dark meat. I like the back. You know how the back of the turkey is all of fat and everything? That's mine.
we had prime rib last Thanksgiving instead of turkey.
That sounds good.
And then we had it at Christmas.
Yeah, we do it at
And then
Christmas.
we had it at New Year's.
We just had it the other day.
June's way for the listeners is 5 minutes per pound at 500 degrees, and then it sits in an unheated oven. So you turn off the heat, so it's still kind of hot.
You don't
But
open the door. Right, you never open the door.
Open the
though.
door.
Oh, no,
Never.
no.
Never open the door.
Don't even look at it.
It's like popovers.
Right,
Don't
leave
open
it. Just do your 500 and set the timer, and then turn it off and walk away.
For 2 hours.
And 2
And then
hours.
Now, does the brown get crispy?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I didn't even season it. The recipe I got off the internet said to season it with all this stuff and put butter on it and blah, blah. And I did that a couple of times, and I was okay, fine. But I've done it without it now, and it's just better. You can
And
add your own salt afterwards.
Salt it on your plate.
And here, this time, we were gone in the morning. We turned it on before church because we were having company in the afternoon. So we turned it on, let it cook, and turned it off as we walked out the door. We didn't get home and didn't have lunch for 3 hours. It sat in the oven for 3. It was, because it doesn't keep cooking. It doesn't keep, it just slows down. It was perfect. It was the most perfect, beautiful. Everyone took leftovers. I mean,
Juicy.
it was great. It was perfect.
For June to say this, because June is the queen of less hassle in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I think you have a new wave. Is that what that is?
I use a new wave because I'm so lazy. Yeah. It's not as good as grilled, but it's just so easy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when she says it was tender and juicy and all of those good things, then she's telling the truth, because
But we didn't cook it in the new wave. We cooked it in the oven.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
okay. Yeah.
I know. Like, you found a way even in the oven to do it with less hassle. I followed the Richard, I don't know how to say his last name, but the Keto Mechanic.
Oh.
And he like browned it on top of the stove in a glass roasting pan and put it in. But the only thing is, it really trashed the top of my stove because of all the grease in the prime rib.
Oh, I hate that.
I don't want to spend an hour cleaning. It was delicious, but I like your way if you still get the brown crispies.
Absolutely. In fact, I used one of those great big throwaway aluminum pans that's kind of got the bumps in the bottom. So I didn't even use a rack. No rack, no cleanup. Throw the pan away. So we had the whole thing, shove it in the oven, and done. Doesn't get
It was
easier.
wonderful.
And there was no spatter.
So that's even less, hassle.
And there was no spatter. There was no mess to clean up. It was just.
And all you need
got a new
was
stove, and I don't want to be like
Yeah.
No, I'm like that too. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a little salt on it when it goes to your plate. It was wonderful.
It was great. I recommend it.
Sounds delicious. All right, so ladies, we're at 30 plus minutes now. Is there anything else that you need to confess or talk about that you want this YouTube channel to know about you?
All I want to say is that, yes, I'm a turtle and it's been slow, but I've gone from a size 3X down to an extra large. My belt had 5 holes in it. I'm in the tightest one and I could poke another one. I'm not suffering. This is the best way to eat ever. I'm happy. And I have every hope that, over the next year, I'm going to lose another 35, if not more. And be happy and not suffer.
You want to tell him you made it to Wonderland?
I'm in Wonderland. Finally, first time in 20-something years. This morning I am 196 even.
Wonderful.
And I've known her for over 20 years and I've never known her to be anywhere close.
Right.
She's always been much higher. So it's so exciting for me to see her progress and encouraging. And when she came, she said, I want to go hiking. Well, that never would have happened before. And we hiked. We hiked a lot. We found great waterfalls and had a wonderful time. And that was just adding a whole new dimension to our relationship.
And you didn't have to have Barbie lunch to have on the hike.
No, I mean, we used to just sit around. I mean, that was what we did together. We'd sit or we'd drive. But this time we got to get out and get busy. It was wonderful.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Perfect time of year. All right, I'm going to close this out. So this is my first time with Skype, so let me see if I can do it. Thank you, everybody, for being here and listening. And yeah, this is how it works for the turtles.
Yeah.
Older people with older metabolisms right here. You just got it straight from how they do it. And picture these two ladies in a restaurant with a couple of slabs of beef in front of them. I just love it. I just love it. They've been talking about you in the kitchen.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for being here. And now I'm going to see if I can figure this out. All right. You're not going anywhere, but we are. Thank you, listeners. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, with my guests, June and Tracy.